Have you ever dreamed about starting your own food business? What do you need to do to scale that up and do it successfully? Stay tuned as we go deeper into this subject on the Zista Podcast. Welcome to the Zista Podcast, where we invite industry professionals, thought leaders, and academicians to answer questions that students have. In today's episode, we're going to be focusing on how do you successfully grow and launch a food startup. And the special focus here is on the QSR side of things, which is quick service restaurants. Joining us today is Biraja Rout, the founder of Biggies Burger. Biggies Burger started with a very small kiosk, and today it's present across multiple cities in India and even looking to expand internationally. Thank you for joining us today, Biraja. We're delighted to have you here today.
It's my pleasure, Amit. Thanks for inviting me. Looking forward to have a great discussion with you.
Fantastic. So I thought I'd ask you, what inspired you to start your own burger chain in India?
So primarily, the whole story goes back to 2011. So I come from Odisha, Eastern India state, where burger at that point of time was not a very popular culture. So typically, I treat burger as a product to be a sign of globalization. So you see a lot of small cities saying that when McD is coming, or else let's say you'll not find a McDonald's in Afghanistan today. So burger as a product, I somehow relate to the financial position of a state or a territory or a demographic. So at that point of time, definitely India is divided into north, west, south, and east, and every brand when it enters, they have a priority of cities. They go to tier 1 city, then tier 2, then tier 3, like that. So fortunately or unfortunately, back then when I was in 21 at Odisha, 2011, I did not have the opportunity to access the product called burger. And when I joined in Infosys, that's my first IT job in Bangalore, I get to introduced about this amazing product. And I see the traction around it, any office party, any outing, we are going to McDonald's, Pizza Hut, or KFC. So I see that as a product, there is a great traction around it. These are 50, 60-year-old brand, globally present at 30,000, 40,000 restaurants, 40,000 places. Countries take pride to have this type of brands. Why not as an Indian concept, as an Indian brand, as anywhere we are consuming burgers, pizzas, and fried chicken, why not we have an Indian brand which is an in-house concept? So primarily back then, with the vision was not that I'll be opening 100, 200 or 1,000 restaurants the way we're doing today. At that point of time, it was only a conviction that I wanted to have a burger chain which justifies the authenticity of burger with an Indian blend.
Okay.
With that vision, I started the concept. Every day, the challenge was survival back then. And as we have survived well, today I'm forcing to be a prominent player in the country.
Awesome. And I would say you've not only survived, you've actually thrived. I was reading this post made by your company on LinkedIn, and it was really amazing to see that from, say, a very humble beginning, the kind of, SKUs that are moving out from Biggie's Burgers today is really amazing. So that is a neat feat, And I like the fact that, there's something that I can relate to, where you said that if there's something, when you go to a place and you see a McDonald's or you see a KFC, you feel like, oh, okay, you see this burger chain here as well. So fantastic. When you see familiar brands in a smaller place, it brings that sense of comfort. And for you to create your own brand, that's really a good move, I would say.
Thank you, Amit, for that. And yeah, I think we have come a long way. I remember the first day when we would have sold 20 plus burgers.
Right.
With so much of struggle, people asking, what is this? What is that? But today, we are selling lakhs of burgers. So conviction has happened. People have trusted. There was the demand. There was a requirement. And I think we have rightly fit into it.
That's nice to hear. So that actually brings me to my next question. How did you manage to scale your business? You started with a small kiosk and today you are a 100+ crore venture. So How did you manage to do that?
See, what happens is when you are not from the industry or F&B industry,
Right.
for everything that you do is an unique thing. Everything is new to you. So you do the things in your way. So for me, back in 2011, when I started, as I was into IT and I had some awareness of standardization. So for me, I was not treating this business as an F&B business, rather as a standardized food operator sort of thing. So for me, more priority was not making money out of the system, rather making it a brand. So I was behind the conviction of making Biggies Burger a brand, rather selling. So typically, if I had to focus on P&L reconciliations or operational challenges at the back end and making it a brand, my focus. And like me, I believe there are 1,000 crores of people who are looking forward to start their food entrepreneur journey. And that is how McD, Subway, Starbucks, or KFC, everyone is franchising throughout the world. So I always wanted to take a food franchise. I started my food venture. So I had a journey and I had a transition from a working IT employee to start something on your own and see that aspiration to create a brand. So like me, I believe there are a lot of people who are looking forward to start their food entrepreneurship. Where franchising came into picture, and I thought to expand this concept through franchising network where more and more people are associated with us, and we created a bigger network of food entrepreneurs whose common goal is to make Biggest Burger a big success in the country. So being very honest, franchising also was not very clear to me. One fine day I was at the store and someone comes and asks me, "Hey Viraz, where did you take the franchise?" Then this franchising thing comes to my mind. And then I start scaling the brand from a small kiosk initially. So initially the plan was to open kiosks alone. But as a customer conviction increased, we had to increase our product, and we have 2,000 square feet of stores as well. So probably when we build the concept, if you have a vision of making a standardized concept, by default people approach you for franchising, and your replication of the model becomes easy because backend is standardized. So I think that helped me to scale. So let's say in our stores, we do not have a kitchen. We call it an assembly unit.
Right.
Not every product is made by the people, and it doesn't change as per the person who is making. So everything is standardized. They have to just assemble and serve. So making the model light OPEX and light CAPEX has helped me to scale at this point of time, is what I believe.
So some good points here. Explore franchising as an option. Keep your costs in control. Focus on quality. Focus on consistency, and really focus on building the brand. So to build the brand, did you also look at doing some activations on social media to get people to start talking about your brand? What did you do on that front?
I will take the flow a little back where you told franchising. So I think franchising is a bundle. It's a capsulated thing. Franchising is a combination of brand value, is a combination of customer awareness, is a combination of your SOPs, standardization, and product, and a lot of things. So first, I believe we have to have a consistent process in place. We have to have a set target of consumer. We have to fix which consumer base we are targeting, and according to the rest will follow. And at the end of the day, if your model is light and replicable, then franchising plays a vital role. Because the moment you give a franchise, your franchise may not be from food background. They can be from... So you are converting a non-F&B background person to be an F&B operator.
Right.
That transition, there should not be so much of fatigue that the whole system suffers. So for him, it should be like operating a retail store. It should not be a real pain of operating a food store.
Okay.
So, I believe, as I was from IT background, I did not have the understanding of how to run a restaurant, how to manage people. I was compelled and forced to follow those processes, which made the concept a franchisable concept. So you have to live the life of a franchise before you become a franchisor. And that is what I believe has been one of our core strengths when we started rolling out franchises. the replication of the model, the ideas of the model has not diluted a lot.
Okay. So to keep your taste consistent, do you have like a centralized kitchen which actually prepares all the food and ships it out to all the different outlets?
So probably central kitchen works for a model where everyday cooking is happening.
Right.
Let's say a biryani brand or something where every day you are cooking and those things are happening. But for a model like us, any QSR in that
Sure.
MACD, we operate from processing unit to warehouse to store model.
Okay.
These are processed in large scale industries where at most hygiene and safety is taken care of.
Right.
Without adding any preservative and all permissible under the conditions of FSSAI. We produce the raw material and then we channelize them through temperature controlled vehicles. So that's the model that we follow at this point of time.
Okay. Coming from a background which was not F&B, as you mentioned, you came from an IT background. There were so many different elements that you had to learn afresh. Did at any point of time, did you think, what am I getting into? Maybe I've taken on more than I can manage. Can you explain? Can you relate some experiences where you may have reached that point but still went on?
See, what happens, if I would have, from day one, the conviction was to build a brand. As I have been repeating that again and again. So
Right.
what happened? Biraja, let's say my name is Biraja. A lot of people, they relate Biraja owns Biggies. So what happens? By default, the statement of affection towards the baby that is born is always there. And you cannot disown it at time, whether it has been painful journey or whatsoever it is. So yes, there has been good amount of lengthy period of time where every day it was a stressful journey because of not having the right finance, not having the right and support, not able to control the finance flow, not able to pay vendors on time. So I believe initial 5-6 years, every single morning has been a tough morning. But the only conviction that my name was attached to the brand, so the price statement of the brand was equal to the price statement of me. So that was the only, and the customer appreciation. So whatsoever you do, if your customers are appreciating, at the end of the day, okay, fine, you are doing something different. Why don't you open another store? Those are the checks that you get for the life. And you never want to lose out on those things. So yes, initial days as a middle class family has always been a tough thing where I do not have the experience of F&B, a new state, new language, new territory, new competition, new market. But along with that, you get to learn a lot of things out of all these resistances and roadblocks, which makes your core to be more strengthened. So I absolutely feel lucky to have gone through that tough journey, not an easy journey. Had it been an easy journey today, the conviction or the clarity that I believe I do have on F&B and QSR would not have happened. So I wish more and more people go through that type of tough journey and get lucky like me.
And it's really amazing to hear you say what you're saying, Biraja, because you really just went ahead with a very strong conviction and never let anything get in your way. And I think what you have achieved so far is remarkable, and I think a large part of that can be attributed to your, never say die or don't quit attitude. So there's a lot that students can learn from that.
So we carry a tagline called "Be Brave, Be Biggies."
Okay.
So it's our slogan for my corporate team, where we every Monday we shout with a slogan called "Be Brave, Be Biggies," which gives that rebellion attitude to our team. So when I started Biggies, a lot of people, they told, "Why are you competing with a lot of big giants over there in the market? As an Indian, you should make dosa, biryani, or roll, or something like that. You make a brand that. Why are you competing that?" But the conviction of the product was so high, so strong, that I thought that no, as we have already dipped into it, let's swim through. And as you rightly told, never said I attitude. That has been one core strength to the
Right.
which has motivated the company as.
Right. Let me ask you something which is more F&B centric. So when you started, you would have probably had fewer SKUs. And as you started expanding, you started launching maybe new burgers. So how did you make those decisions? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
See, for the longest 9 years, 2011 till 20, I did not have a chef in my company. Everything was depending on the perception that I was carrying, because I wanted to build a brand uh, so true and so original from a customer point of view,
Sure.
that it is not affected by greater brands who are into F&B. So when I started, the first product was called something called Beamer. So just
Okay.
like and has a hook product. Now, let's say KFC, you go, there is a jinger,
Right.
there is a hopper. So why it ends with ER? Because burger ends with ER. So I
Right.
had to come up with a product which was ending with ER and it relates to our product. So beam is something which holds the whole construction, beam and pillar. Very similarly, I felt a patty which holds the burger. Why not I call it a beamer? So
Sure.
we used, probably India's first baked grilled burger without adding any extra oil. We used to take the fat of the meat and cook the patty.
Sure.
Healthier versions of burger. So
Sure.
beamer was the first SKU that was there in my menu, and we had a single beamer, double beamer, triple beamer. That's the whole set of burger that I had for 2 years. But gradually, what has happened is when we focused on grilled burger, we got a customer segment who was little niche, little premium, who wanted wings along with it. We wanted some drinks along with it, and to operate from a kiosk and giving a grilled burger which is 199 or 159 was not suiting the benchmark.
Sure.
So then we took a call. Okay, fine. Now it's time that we shift our kiosk to a physical unit where people can at least sit and have the burger.
Right.
And I believe so. As customer asked French fries initially, I did not have a French fries in the menu. It was purely burger and a Pepsi. Then we added milkshakes. So the whole journey has been through the specs of a customer, what they were expecting from Biggies Burger. Accordingly, we had launched. But yeah, keeping the USP of the brand, which was more focused on grilled burger. So in India, you do not find a lot of players who are doing grilled burger. KFC, McD, Burger King, everyone is playing around fried burger. And I strongly feel fried burger are unhealthier than grilled burger. And grilled burger is a right combination of fat, protein, meat, carbohydrate, and vegetable.
Sure.
So my conviction was to build a brand which justifies the product, which doesn't deteriorate the product, as well as differentiates from the common palate. And keeping grilled in mind, whatever the customers were looking at, we have adopted them in the menu as well.
Okay, so largely what you're saying is it's the customer feedback that has driven your product, expansion, your menu expansion, and I think in that sense you've been really attuned to what your customers wanted. So did you expand your menu in one outlet and then start scaling the number of outlets, or was the journey a little different?
So primarily, I believe we have always tried to maintain an uniformity at outlets.
Right.
So wherever there is a menu launch, it happens over a period of time, over 3 months of time across the country.
Okay.
So stores from Punjab to Siliguri to Gujarat to Madurai, all the 4 parts of the country. So we take a conscious call of launching the menu at one territory, understanding what are the problems or concerns logistically or operationally or customer wise are coming up. And then it's a batch wise menu launch that we do always. It is never a flat menu launch that can be done in one day, all the stores at a go. No.
It makes sense, actually. It's more like a small pilot project. You're seeing what's working, what isn't, whether anything needs to be adjusted, get it right, and then scale. So that's a really interesting approach. Okay, so it really takes time for a business venture that started from scratch to become profitable, when you're scaling up. And I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give young entrepreneurs out there who are looking to create their own brand 5 years down the line?
See, I believe first of all we need to just for the flow of getting into F&B. If you are entering, then F&B is no less competent today. It is one of the most competent industry as of today. and it needs the right brain. It doesn't need a gimmick to be played around that you are giving a large size thing or a nice packaging, and only that will justify the whole concept. That is as per my perception. So my perception says very strongly that F&B industry has been one of the most serious industry today. Chances of survival are very thin, but people who are adhering to the basics of fundamentals of the concept, where a customer, product, standardization, and doing the right thing in the F&B industry has been adhered, they are surviving. So patience is something, good amount of market research, right? And finding out the right fit. India is huge. India has a lot of demographics. India have a lot of behavior. It changes, the food habit changes in 200 kilometer. So you have to rightly understand what is the future forecast of the public's demand, what is missing in the whole industry. And it is not about only a food quality today. It is about the ambience. It is about the brand building activity. It is about the aesthetic. It is about the technology adoption that you do to make your people aware about your brand. It is, I think F&B has been more beyond food and beverages only. To make a successful F&B venture, I believe the right food or consistent food plays 20% of the part. The rest 80% of the part plays in your whole articulation skill set of your business.
That's well answered. So you take care of all the other elements, but your basic product has to be really good. And, you got to adhere to your safety standards, your hygiene standards. Sorry. You got to adhere to your safety standards, your hygiene standards, and make sure that you're delivering a good product day after day, week after week. And that's how you're slowly and steadily building your brand. So I think you've really shared some valuable advice with students on this podcast. And I want to thank you once again for making time for this session, Biraja. I've really enjoyed this conversation. And the next time I'm in Bangalore, or the next time I'm around a Biggies Burger outlet, I'm personally looking forward to having a Biggies Burger and enjoying it.
Thanks, Amit. Thanks for conducting this session. It was a pleasure talking to you. I hope my inputs will help your students to aspire their journey in future.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Biraja really gave us some fantastic tips on what you need to focus on and how you can successfully grow your food services business. He's certainly doing things right. He's got over 100 members in his corporate team, and his expanded team, which includes his operations and his warehousing, has over 800 members. His product is loved by customers. He's focusing on all the right aspects of the business, and he is building a very strong brand in the QSR space. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on our podcast channels. Our handle is Zista Podcast. And as you know, we're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. So if you like the content we're creating, do follow us. We're going to keep creating content that adds value to you. Till we meet next, we'd say, stay curious.